Hello, everyone. So we're going to continue our discussion with the Windows function in Spark because we have already covered it from the SQL perspective. But now we are going to look at if we don't have the structured data and our if the data is sitting on the data lake or data is unstructured. So how we gonna actually run the same analytical function on such data? Like I mentioned that the rest of the process is going to be the same. We are going to get the data into data frame, and then we are going to create the temporary table based on that data frame, which we have seen a lot now in the Spark SQL. So, and if you remember in the last video, we have discussed the ranking function that includes the row number and the rank, dense rank, and tile. But what we haven't discussed in the last video is if we want to partition our data and then apply the ranking function. So we're going to start this video by partitioning the table. And if you remember, I have discussed the partitioning in the SQL Server video. The concept applies similarly in here, like you split your table into chunks. It really depends upon what partition scheme you are defining, and we're going to see in a moment. And then it apply the analytical function, and it is similar for the ranking function and the Windows aggregate function, which we're going to discuss later in this video. So by saying it, let's jump and see how the partitioning work. So I'm using the same table in this video, so you're not going to be confused with the unknown attributes. So these attributes are now quite familiar. And what we are doing in the previous video, excuse me. In the previous video, we have seen that row number is allocating a unique ID to each row, and the sequence of the unique ID is determined by the column that we mentioned in the order by clause in the over statement. All right. Now we are going to extend our over clause, and now we are going to partition our data based on the organizational level. So what it's going to do is going to actually divide the partition, divide the table by the organizational level. So if we have 5 organizational level, it's going to actually create 5 partition, and then it's going to actually apply the function locally to each partition. And obviously these are not going to be the physical partition. That's more like the logical partition that you can think of. All right, so let me just run it. So now if I come in here, so you can see I have the row number, which is simple. Like you can see the row number is keep going without any issue. However, the row number by organization, which has been partitioned, this row number, it is resetting once we have something at row number 4. So what we're going to do, we're going to see what's going on at row number 4. I just increased the zoom size because in the last video I've seen the visibility is not good, so you might not understand what's going on the screen unless you look at the notebook. So that's why I decided to increase the visibility. And let me also do one more thing if I can, menu option collapse, that will give me more room size. Yes. So now you can see in the organizational level, we can see that at the row number 4, we are getting a new organizational level. So you can see it has assigned a unique ID to each record at the organizational level 1. But as soon as the new partition comes in, it reset the counter. And let me just do one more thing to make it more clear, because right now the organizational level is not in order. So let me do this, right? So I think that would be much better for us from the understanding perspective. I'm just waiting for it. Yeah, for somehow, okay, did it, but let me, what I'm going to do. Let me just try one more thing. Yeah, I think that would be better. Let's see. Yeah, now I think that that's much better. Job title is fine, marketing, information, and chief financial officer is coming at the end. Yeah, all good. So I'm just arranging the output so I can show it to you. So you can see organizational level, and in at level 1, it start assigning the ID from 1 all the way 6, and then it reset. And if we look at the when it reset the row number by organization, which is actually the partition by the organizational level, so you can see that the new organizational level comes in the output. So it reset the ID and it start again. And obviously if we go all the way down to the level 3, so we're gonna see the count has been resetted again in here, and you can see it is starting from the it's starting again from the level 3. And by the way, I think I am, yeah, no, I think all good. Yeah, so that actually that's the output which we haven't discussed this one. So let me just take it in here and put it into this one. Right, it has one additional statement which we haven't discussed, so I don't want to confuse you. So that's the one, right? So which we are discussing, where we have one unique ID, the other one is more like the ID which is going by allocating by the organization. So we are partitioning the data now. So if we want to calculate the total, so one thing I want to just show you, if you, for example, if you are calling the count function and you don't want to, partition, or for example, you just want to do the count, right? So just it in this cell, what we are doing, we are just showing that we can call the over clause without specifying any parameter in the over clause. What it will do, it will actually apply the function on the whole table without considering any partition, or it's more like generalize, is similar to the normal aggregation function. But the best part is you can do that with the column which are not part of the aggregation. So what does it mean? I think that's a very good thing, that you're gonna see the difference. And let me do this in here. All right, that's much better. So for example, if I don't specify the over clause, right, I'm just calling the count star, and I'm going to call for example, the business entity, and I want to show these parameter uh, beside the aggregation, right? So let's run this statement, and we have the error. And the reason is that we cannot call the aggregation function with the attributes which are not part of the group by clause. So remember, once you have this limit, it can be overridden through the Windows based function, which is very powerful thing. Like you can see right now, I just want to display the total number of records, right? But I can't, because I have to do a group by. And if I do a group by, you will be surprised, the outcome will be totally changed. So instead of mentioning the total against the record, what it's gonna do, let me show it to you. So now I mentioned the group by clause, so the error has gone, but now you can see it actually, instead of showing the aggregation, it is now showing the total number by the group of the records, right? So in order to overcome this challenge, what we are going to do, Let me just copy this and let me paste in here. So in order to overcome this challenge, what you're gonna do, you're gonna use the Windows Analytical function, because Windows Analytical function let you run your aggregation function with the normal attributes. It's a very common question and a very powerful concept you need to remember, because it's gonna really help you in your practical jobs, right? So that's another advantage we have seen in the analytic Windows function side. So that's the count analytical function we have discussed. And like you can see, what is showing, it's just showing the total number of records which we have in the table, because we haven't mentioned any criteria or any parameter in the over clause. All right. So now what we are going to do now we are going to partition our record. So I want to see by organizational level, what's the contribution of each level to the total number of human resource, or the total number of employee. And we do normally these kind of analysis, especially to see the patterns, so we can identify, okay, later on we can even mention the budget that we are spending against each level, and see what are the performance, what are the KPI statuses at the end of the year, how we are doing at each level. So these will definitely help the organization to adjust the benchmark on the organizational levels, right? To improve obviously the efficiency of their employees as well as the business, because the business efficiency is directly linked to the employees' performance. All right, so let's now come in, and we are going to now, because we have already got the total number of records, which is 290. Now what I'm going to do, I'm now going to count, but now this time I'm going to partition it. So again, I'm going to partition the table, the logical or visual partition into by the organizational level, and then I apply the count function. So let's see what we're gonna get now. Because I have zoomed the screen size, so that's why I need to see where after running the cell where the cursor is. So now you can see what we have in here. Yeah. So let me just take out this one. Sorry, I think I don't need job title at this stage. I'm going to show it to you. So organizational level, we have total. It's doing some really weird things today, because the screen size is quite big. I'm just losing the focus where it automatically moved to the next cell, and the next output is appearing. Anyway, so we were in here. So I'm just going to show you the outcome. We have partitioned by the organization level, the counting of the row. So now you can see our total organization. Much better now. Our total organization, total by organization is coming as 6. So if you can look at the total number of records, so we can literally count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, right? Because on the 7th record, the new organizational level is starting. So if I actually go and check the next level, we have 27 records. So how about if we go to the 27? Plus 6 above, so 33 altogether. So you can see at the 34 we are getting the new level, which is 3, right? So that's how. Now as a next step, what I'm going to see, like I mentioned, I'm going to see the percentage of each level to the total organizational hierarchy. So all I need to do, I need to divide the count star over the partition by the count star, because count star by partition will give me the count by the chunk, and if I divide it by the total, it will give me the percentage of the contribution that each level is making into the org structure or organizational structure. So let's see the next one. So that's exactly I have done. So you can see I just copy and cast it as a float. And if you remember, I discussed it in my SQL Server. The same rule applying here. If you want cast it into the float data type, it's going to actually divide the integer by integer, and the result will be converted into integer and returned to you as 0, right? Because obviously the result is going to be in the ratio, and it's going to be in the percentage format, and that's why I'm actually multiplying it by 100 and rounding it till 2 digits, so you can see a proper outcome. All right, so the formula is pretty simple, and we have already discussed, and I'm just calling a percentage of level to or the contribution of the organization level to the full org structure. So now let me run it. So now if we can come in here, you're gonna see, as usual, it moved to the next cell, guys. So that's the output, sorry. So you're gonna see at the end of the output, I have the percentage of level. So it is showing me 2.07. Now, if I come in here and I just divide 6 by 290, that's going to be 0.02. And if I just multiply it by 100, which is normally our formula to calculate the percentage, I'm getting exactly 2.0689, which is rounding to second digit is 0.7. Now, for the second level, we have 27 record. If you remember, I'm going to divide it to 90, and I'm going to multiply with 100, and you're going to see 9.31. So you can see we are getting 9.31 for the next level. So now you can see how we can generate really good analytics at the database level before we can show it at the dashboard level. You know, you don't need to write extensive script at the Power BI or Tableau or or ClickSense level. You can write all these powerful scripting at the database level, and then you can call these the outcome to show it into a nice chart or graph, right? So that's the count. Obviously, in this one, we are also going to look at the aggregation in the Spark. So let's see, and we are now going to use the sum function. So the same way you are calling the counting, you can call sum, you can call the average, you can call min, max, standard deviation, all the aggregation functions which are available, you can call it in the Windows function. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna actually now calculate the sum of vacation hour, but by the organizational level, that okay, how many hours we have allocated to each level into our organizational chart. So the syntax is now pretty clear. Like you can see, we call the sum function, and now in here we need to mention the function, because it's not like a count which apply on the whole row. We are applying now aggregation on a one particular column, right? So that's why we mention the column name in the function as a parameter, and then in the our class we are passing the same thing, partition by and the column name by which we are going to partition our table, and then apply the aggregation function. All right, so we are good. Let's run it. And I'm going to now look at, so you can see my total vacation hour is 180 at the organizational level 1, and we can do a quick sum in here. So 10, 64, 74, 75 and 75, and then we have 105, so that's going to be 180, right? So you can see that this is all sum up to 180. And now we have a one more level, but that has vacation hour 0, right? Now Coming back to the second level, you can see the second level has changed, and now we have the total vacation hour to 1379, because obviously we have 27 records, and every record has obviously some good number of vacation hours. So you can see we have all these value in here. So that's how we apply the aggregation function using the Windows Analytics. All right. Now, there's a very famous concept for calculating the running total. And previously, we have a lot of, manual steps that we normally use to arrange the data and then apply to calculate the running total. Now you're going to see how easy it is to calculate the running total if you understand the Windows Analytical or Windows aggregation function. So that all the concept will remain same. There's only one thing. Now we are going to define the frame. So that frame will actually define that, okay, which frame is going to use to calculate the aggregation. So in this case, we're going to define the frame. Okay, wherever we are in the table, you calculate the sum of all the rows before that row plus including that row, right? So in simple words, so wherever we are in the table, everything will be sum up to that row level, right? So in term of syntax, how we define it. So once we partition by the organizational level, what we say that, okay, rows between, so once you go and in the partition, you are going to sum the total. What you're gonna do, start from the start, because unbounded preceding, that means go all the way from the start and then sum it till when you reach to the current row, right? So it will give you the running sum at each record level, right? So which is a very, very powerful concept, especially once we are building the complex reporting. All right, so let's run it and see the amazing running total. So you can see I've called it running total vacation hour, and I'm going to show you in a moment. Yeah. So you can see we can even run it by ourselves. So for the first row, because there is nothing behind first row, so that's why the running total is 10. Then we have the next one, which is 64. So if you can sum up, so 10 plus 64 is 74, and then we have 1, which is 75, and then we have 40, which is obviously 115, and then we have 65, which is obviously going to be 180, and then obviously we have 0, which is going to be 180. Now, because we have partition 8, so that's why the sum is going to be reinitiated, because what we don't have any preceding row based on the new organizational level, right? So as soon as the frame, everything is happening within that frame, right? So from the start till the current row, right? But as soon as the frame has changed, the whole routine is going to be reinitialized. So that's the concept of the running totals, or the framing, if you want to include it into your analytical aggregation functions. So beside the running averages, I do believe we have discussed the most important functionality of the partition by and the framing concept from the aggregation perspective. So remember, and we also looked at the advantage of using the aggregation in the Windows function, because it will help us to associate our aggregation output with the non-aggregation column. So hopefully that video will be beneficial. Please put any comment if you have any question. More than happy to answer. Otherwise, like the video, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. So thanks for watching.